All right, let's talk about the Yorknew arc. My only complaint is the name of that city. Not a fan. But that's my only complaint because, oh my god, this entire arc was incredible. Starting off, please know that my love of Killua knows no bounds. Love this sweet child. Kurapika is my new favorite, though, because, oh my god, the absolute terrifying things this man did. He is cold as hell, ruthless, yet that is not the defining point of his character. The empathy that he has and the understanding, the care of his friends and wanting to protect them above even his own revenge. I love Kurapika more than anything right now. Okay, so this arc starts off with everything I wanted, and that is Gon and Killua going back to Whale Island, because of course Gon got to bring his best friend home to meet his aunt and his grandmother, and he introduces them, and he stays for dinner, and they're just having the grand old time. He's showing them around the island. There's no fights. It's just running, jumping on rooftops, exploring the mountains and the forest, and it is beautiful, and I love it. You get them having the sweetest moment ever where Gon's just like, he's going to go find his father, and Killua's just like, I envy you, like, to have this purpose, and I wish I had that. I wish I had something that I wanted to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life now. And Gon's just like, what do you mean? You're going to come with me, aren't you? You're going to help me find my father. We'll stay together and have adventures. And Killua's just like, oh yeah, I'm going with you. That's obvious, but like, you have this drive of things you want to do. I just know what I don't want. I don't want to be stuck in the manor with my family. I don't want to be assassin like they want me to be. And he wants his own dreams and goals. And Golan's just like, well, we'll find you something that you're passionate about, but for the time being, you're staying with me. And Killua's gonna leave Gon at some point throughout this series, and I'm upset about it, because he's gonna have his own dream to pursue, and he's gonna leave him away from Gon, and they're not going to be together being best friends, and I hate that. I don't want that, but I guess the character needs that, so I will accept it when it obviously happens. But super, super sweet. Gon tells a story about what he knows about his father, but also, I think when his mother is brought up, he's like, I've never really thought about her, because my aunt's my mother. What's her name? Mito. So she is wonderful because, of course, she accepts Killua coming in, being like, oh, of course, Gonbra's best friend home. I've heard about you in the letters. I'm so happy to meet you. And I love it. She's just welcoming him in, and she should have been like his mother as well, because something tells me he did not have a nurturing family. But besides the point, we learn more about how Gon's father was friends with Mito as a kid, and she used to be hiding in areas that no one knew how she would get there, like got to this point in the island. So she's got something as well in her backstory, and he would come and bring her home and yada yada. Eventually he went off, became a hunter, came back with a child in his arms, and originally Mito had told Gon that his parents had been killed using the same story that what was true for her parents. And of course Gon eventually figured out that that wasn't truth, but awful convenient that everyone involving Gon's father is dead, with the exception of these two here on the island. I don't know if they have been threatened, if they have been targeted to send a message to him, as in, hey, we can get to your loved ones if you don't do what we say, or stop doing something you're doing, or stop doing something, or do something for us, whatever. Is that why he left and he doesn't want Gon to find him? Because that's another target for his enemies to go after? Don't know. What else don't I know? Who Gon's mother is. And that's a question I need answered, but apparently Gon doesn't care because he views Mito as his mother. So she gives him this box that his father had left for him, saying only give this to him when he becomes a hunter. Killua tries to break it open, but it doesn't work. But when he recognizes that, hey, when you become a hunter, you get something and you learn something, so that must be how it opens. And me and Gon had the exact same idea, and that was to take the hunter card and look for a slot. I also thought that was the answer, and Killua was just being like, no, you idiot, use Nen to open it. And I'm like, Killua, fair, but I also thought the exact same thing. I'm like, oh, there must be a slot for the hunter card. So Gon opens the box, and when it falls apart, it's all the engravings that were similar to the band that had that Wing had made, so some kind of markings. There's a ring in there with more markings, and they're like, let's not put that on. That's probably not safe. There's a memory card, and then there's a tape recorder cassette thing. So they put in the tape and they're listening to it. Killua, being the smart boy he is, decides to make a copy of it as it's playing. Doesn't really help at all. And it's like, hey, I'm your father. If you want to know what happens to me, keep listening. Also, don't keep listening. I don't want you to listen to this. Please, like, hang up. Unless you're really sure, stop now. So Gon lets it play, and it's pretty much, yeah, if you really want to find me, too bad, I don't want to see you. Jerk, you do not deserve Gon. There better be a hidden message there, something about protecting your son. He goes on about how he's selfish, and he knows he's going to do his own thing. He's already abandoned his family. He's not worth trying to find. But then, like, goading at him, let's see if you can find me. So it might just be like a challenge. So Gon's going to be after him, and he's going to be actively hiding from Gon, saying, if I know you're on my tail, I'm not going to let you find me. And then he says, all right, now if you want to hear about your mother, keep listening. Gon hits pause because his aunt's his mother. He doesn't want to know about her. And I'm upset, Gon, because some of us do want to know who your mother is. I have no theories, no idea. She must be someone important. I need to know. And then the tape starts erasing itself, including the backup tape that was made, erasing all evidence. Reasons for this. His father's a jerk. Second reason for this, not wanting to leave any trace of himself or trail to get to him. I can only assume that there's some kind of nin ability that would allow someone to be tracked through something either personal to you or, like, the voice makes sense. Something left behind by somebody. There gotta be some kind of nin user that could have used that to track him down, so I'm assuming that's the reason it was erased. Either that or a feeling of, if you don't want to know me in this moment, then there's nothing on this tape you need to hear, so I'm just going to delete everything anyway because you didn't want to know about it. There's no turning back, point of no return or whatever. I want to know who Gon's mother is. They then play the memory card. Killua has to go find an old game system to plug it in. Now, they don't have the game, but they have the memory card, so they're looking on it, and it's a game for, what is the name of the game? Greed Island, which is a game, there's like 100 in existence, and something about Nens involved, and people had went to the game and lost forever. It's really only known by hunters, and ridiculously expensive, like outside of the realm of possibilities of what you could buy expensive. Even the money that they have from the arena before would not cover the cost, even though Gon's like, I wonder if we combine yours and my winnings, then maybe we could at least make a bid for it. And Killua is just like, yeah, okay, yeah, take my money. I don't care. It means nothing to him. He just wants to help his friend. Love Killua so very much. So Killua ends up calling his brother, the game guy, and bribes him, tricks him more or less into giving him some information in exchange for sending him like a copy of the memory card so he can remake the game. And in exchange, he sends him information on where they can buy this at the auction in York City. Yorknew City. Hate that name. And that's the spot that they were agreed already to meet up with Kurapika and Leorio for the hunting down of the spider troop people. We then cut to Kurapika, darling angel, did nothing wrong in his entire life, who is taking the job as a bodyguard now that he's passed his own in a hunter exam. And he specifically chose this group because they were like buying body parts and connections to the black market. So he thinks that's going to get him close to his clan members' eyes and will also give him an opportunity to go after the Phantom Troop. So he picks them, and he's in like an audition for the bodyguard type position. And it turns out it's, what was that game? Among Us or something like that? Where one of them is a sort of imposter. It's all a test to test them out. So they had these people attacking, and Kurapika immediately recognizes that they're holding back on this guy. So he's like, hey, you're the one controlling them, knock it off. And they're like, hey, how many other people in this room could really be pretend bodyguards? We got to make it off the grounds alive. And he uses like a divination thing with his chain to suss them out. And you had another character who's just like, anyone who lies will die by my fist, whatever hell his power was, which is really cool. And at one point, Kurapika catches a bunch of bullets with his chains. I love those chains. I love this man. He's wonderful. And I did like this scene. There was the scene with the girl who anyone she kisses, like, becomes her servant, and then she has them, like, act like a dog and steps on them. was that really necessary? Especially how little we did with her character before she's killed off. Like, I didn't. Why was that an option? Anyhow, don't care. Love this arc. So they're all given individual weird body parts of famous people that they have to get to prove that they're worthy of joining this group, because the daughter of the boss is obsessed with body part collection. It's a weird hobby to have. She's really cool, and the anime did kind of spoil me-ish for what her powers would be, sort of, because it's clear she was a specialist, because it was her silhouette in the intro that I was watching over and over again when they were given the different types of Nen ability, so I knew she was going to be a specialist. Turns out she can read the future of anyone when she knows their name, date of birth, and blood type. So she ends up writing out their future in like a bunch of poems, but she herself is not really doing it. It's like this thing controlling her hand when she's doing it, and she doesn't actually know what's being written, and she chooses not to read it. So I like her abilities. I don't trust her. A, she's selfish as hell and would rather go shopping when her life's in danger, and a bunch of people had just been murdered at one point, and all she cares is, I didn't get the mummy. The mummy is gone. I want the mummy. Ma'am, people have died. Killua and Gon go to an internet cafe because Killua's like, you can't look up stuff on this game and post things from your home computer. They'll track you down to your home, as if there's dangerous people in this world that will target your loved ones. I'm convinced that Gon's father got sort of the parents of Mito killed, and he's trying to protect his son and her and everybody by keeping his distance. Either that or he does not deserve Gon. So they go to the internet cafe, which I'm wondering if there's still a thing or not, but goes out searching for information, gets some information, realizes where the action's going to be and the cost of it, and they're trying to get money. And they use all their money to buy a bunch of artifacts that they can, like, resell, but, like, some sketchy websites, they end up buying fake, so they lose money, so now they're down to less than what they had before. They lost all this money, and it's just them repeatedly going around the city trying to make money to buy it, or to have money to bid in the action for this game. Like, there's an arm wrestling competition where Gon is swindling people out of money. They go antiquing, and anything with a strong Nen around it, they're like, oh, this must be valuable because whoever made it left some of their presence there. So they learn about this technique where people had like treasure in a pot thing, and people would go in from like a fake entrance to steal it all and seal it all up, so it's still sealed in the original entrance opening to sell and con people out of money. They learned that technique. And this scene was going on for so long. I'm like, I get it. This is going to come back and play. They're going to escape by making a different fake entrance. I get it. Can we move past this scene? The moment during that time when they're talking to a collector antiquity person that is giving them all that information, he notes that Gon has no problem with him making forgeries in the past. He's just so curious. And it works out really interesting with Gon's character, because he's not in pursuit of what is right or wrong, or just the good to do good. He's just like interested, and it's like true neutral. And I'm very interested in what Gon's character just becomes. Will he like rationalize terrible things or pursue things that aren't so great just because he's curious of what the outcome would be? He's clearly not going to judge anyone for having a sketchy past, even though my darling Killua has done nothing wrong his entire life. He does not judge him for like killing a bunch of people at one point in time. We cut to the Phantom Troupe, who are there to steal a bunch of stuff from the auction. We learn that the leader of the Phantom Troupe really likes books. I can relate. They go to the auction house and just slaughter the entire crowd, including like 3 of the people that are working with kurapika as bodyguards. I wish I knew anything about them to make me care. Again, only criticism you're going to get, because every character in this arc was introduced so well. Like, the Phantom Troupe, I almost expected these to be, like, just throwaway bad guys. Yeah, they're really powerful, but I wasn't expecting, like, the interpersonal character dynamics between them, the friendships they had, the loyalty that they had, because presumably they all come from that trash city, meteor city, whatever place, and they have bonded together, and the idea that the spider as a whole is what is important, not the individual legs, and the organization must continue and thrive. And just their relationships between each other and their personalities. I was shocked by how much character development they all got in this arc. And even like one of the other bodyguards, you get little moments of him being in a relationship with one of the, almost like ladies in waiting, one of the people taking care of the boss's daughter, and him and his relationship with the dogs. And just so when we get a little bit more with him, it hurts when he was targeted later on, because at least he's has some character development to him and what he wants in a good life. So I did like those moments. So these like 3 that got thrown away right away, I'm a little bit shocked that weren't given a reason to care about them. But then the lady with the short black hair takes out this vacuum cleaner, and her ability allows it to suck up all dead things, which works well as because they can also go to the vault and like just suck up all the treasure and also not leave any evidence and bodies behind, only to find out the treasure has already been stolen. So they have to flee in a hot air balloon because no one notices that flying away. And the mafia, because that's who's running this auction, is pursuing them, which they get to a big open field crater looking thing. And I love this. I love this so much because the I'm just going to call him the one that's like a gorilla fighting ants, goes into the center, and he's just like, all you guys stay out of it. This is my fight. Don't get in the way. And all the other Phantom Troop members are just like, yeah, whatever. Anyone got some cards? And they are literally playing a game of cards while he is fighting in death matches to everyone who comes up against him. And these beast ones show up. They're like the baddest of the bad for the mafias. They're strongest fighters. And there's 3 of them. There's a worm, there's a wild dog, and there's a porcupine-styled fighter. And they're going after him with everything they got. And you think that, oh, maybe someone's going to have to come and help. No, he slaughters them. And at one point in time, he lets out this scream, and everyone's in the Phantom Troop hands to their ears like, you could have deafened us, a little warning. He's like, you're fine, keep playing your game. And they continue to play cards. It was a slaughter. It was devastating. And it was hilarious at the same time. I cannot tell you how much I love the fact that they were just playing cards up on the hill while their friend was in a fight. But that is when Kurapika shows up. The chain user, as he will be known by the Phantom Troop. Delight, because first he's in utter rage seeing the Phantom Troop there and like losing his mind, going to attack them, and his friend Melody has to use her song powers to calm him the hell down so he can think rationally. He then chooses the very rational decision to go after this man who just slaughtered an entire army, took a rocket launcher to the chest, and killed the mafia's strongest fighters, and is like, I'm just going to fight him anyway. He uses his chain to wrap around him, drag him out, and kidnap him. Now, the other Phantom Troop members are after him, trying to get Buddy back, the gorilla. I just got UVO written down. I'm just going to refer to him as the gorilla. So they kidnap him, and we learn about Kurapika's powers. So when he uses his like judgment chain and all the different abilities of his chains, he's made a deal. He can only use this weapon against members of the Phantom Troops, and if he ever uses it against someone who is not a member, then the dagger that's pointing towards his heart will kill him instantly. Now, this gotta play off eventually. At first, I thought it would be him accidentally attacking and using it on Hisoka, who isn't actually a member. Like, what would happen if Kurapika used this on someone who he thought was a member but wasn't? Would that activate the dagger to his heart? But by the end of this, Kurapika knows about Hisoka, and he ends up teaming up sort of with Hisoka in supplying information to each other, as Hisoka wants to fight the leader because he's just out for a good fight, and is like, oh, that would be a great death match. So they bring the gorilla guy to their home base, and they're trying to get information out of him about where the treasure is. Turns out the other big fighters from the mafia had stolen an owl or something, but the Phantom Troop have already taken care of those last 3 and stole the treasure back. Eventually, though, the Phantom Troop tracked down the gorilla guy, and he gets released. He gets all his strength back. Oh, there was a moment, and like Hunter x Hunter wins the most disturbing power ever, as one of them, of the mafia's guys, ends up attacking the gorilla guy and put a bunch of leeches inside of him, and it was disturbing and gross, and they're eventually just going to spray out from him. So he's on a little bit of a ticking time bomb. You gotta get those removed, but just very gross ability. But it's not enough to stop Kurapika, because the gorilla guy is out for revenge, wanting to go after the chain user. So he hunts down Kurapika only for it to be a trap. And Kurapika is absolutely savage. I expected this to be like a decent fight. This was a one-way just stomp. I am going to kill you. Like, Kurapika looks at this man who's giving it his all and taking like full hits and is just like, is that the best you got? I expected more. And then he's still fighting and Kurapika's just like, you're just wasting my time. Terrifying. I love this man. Oh my god. I cannot tell you. I cannot put into words how much I love Kurapika's fight here. And the Red Moon, beautiful. Kurapika ends up gets him in the chain surrounding him, and it's just like, tell me what you know about the other Phantom Troop members, or you die here and now. And Buddy just says, kill me. And that's it. He dies. Kurapika buries him in a shallow grave, and he had the shovel, so I now understand the joke of it now must go. Kurapika brought a shovel to a fight, Shikamaru already dug the hole, but I just love this fight so very much. I want to rewatch it again, because absolutely wonderful. Alright, so Gon and Killua realize that the Mafia have a bounty out on all the members of the Phantom Troop, and if they take down like 2 or 3 of them, then, or maybe they need to take down them all, can't remember, then they'll have enough money to bid on the game. So they think it's a good idea to hunt down the Phantom Troop. They end up locating 2 of them at a like restaurant outdoor, just at a table. It's like, oh, definitely a trap, but we're gonna follow them anyway. So they're trailing behind him, and Killua starts acting strange. He is very much on the train of, you do not fight someone stronger than you. These people are dangerous. If I give the word, we run. Do not fight them. Do not do anything. If I say it's too dangerous, we are running. And he's also like semi-jealous of Gon being so naturally good at following and stalking people. And when he's doing it, Gon's like, okay, just be careful. Remember, be careful. And Kill was like, he's telling me to be careful. I've been shadowing people in life or death situations since I was like 3 years old. Once again, I need to have words with his parents, because that's not something that he should have had to do. Now I'm going to jump into what I'm going to assume is spoilers for later in the series. So if you've only seen up to this arc, and I have no idea for when this could be, skip ahead. Because there was a scene here where they're in trouble, and it's just Killua remembering his brother, and the effects of it and everything definitely got some like hypnosis vibes to it, and his brother Lumi's just like, I drilled this into you during your training. You don't like basically fight people stronger than you. And I had suddenly had a memory of someone on the internet having a conversation, and they brought up Killua's brother being like a mind controlling, and I feel like I was seen in that video that his brother mind controls Killua, if I'm remembering correctly. And I am currently wondering now if Killua is under hypnosis, because multiple times Gon had said, you're acting really strange whenever he wants to fight someone he knows is stronger to them when they're locked up later. I'm wondering if during the training of assassination, whatever, his brother had like literally used his powers to manipulate him into not fighting really strong people, or a fight he would lose, in an attempt to protect his brother later on. So that's not an original thought. I did not remember that I had heard that when I started this series. Cutting back, they follow the Phantom Troop and end up getting captured, because it was more of a fight us and you will lose, or you come with us back to our base and we'll interrogate you and see what you know. And they agree to go back to the base. So these 2 little kids just wind up back at the Phantom Troop base. When Killua and Gon were in the car, one of them put her hand on their shoulder, and we learn later that she has like mind control powers through touch. Except they're asking, like, hey, do you know this chain user? And clearly they know Kurapika, but they have zero idea that he is the chain user that they're talking about. So that is absolutely hilarious and wonderful. When they get to the base, Gon recognizes Hisoka, and Killua's just like, you idiot, don't say you recognize him. They're like, what, do you know someone here? And they're like, yeah, that girl, I beat her in arm wrestling. And she's like, I wouldn't lose. Like, you were using your left arm, that's why you lost. Why would I use my left arm? I'm right-handed, or vice versa, using right arm and I'm left-handed. Overall, I absolutely adored it. You have Nobu? Nobunaga, something like that. And he was the closest partner, friends with the gorilla guy that Kurapika had killed. So he's like, the chain user must have used a dirty trick. I'm going to get revenge for him. But he ends up really liking Gon and being like, I want these two to join our troupe. I think they're worthy. We gotta talk to the boss. And everyone else is like, all right, your problem, hold them hostage, and we have other things to do. So Gon and Killua are being held hostage, and he's at the door, and he's very much, if you take a step forward, if you get within my range, I will kill you. And that's when Killua has his like breakdown when I'm thinking he's in mind control, fighting against said mind control. Gon, however, gets absolutely pissed at him when Killua is ready to sacrifice himself to buy them time so Gon can escape. And he just smacks Killua, being like, I don't want you to die for me. You're not allowed. And it's a stupid idea. And it's like, well, you were going to die for me. Yeah, well, I'm stupid. And it's just wonderful. Then they use the technique that had been so heavily set up before with the fake entrance. So they bust through walls to get away, and it's sneaky. It works well. It's a fun scene, and they're able to run away to get back to Leo. And that's when Kurapika reveals, hey, the chain user, I realized during our interrogation here, is Kurapika. We need to hunt him down and see what's up. So Kurapika is put on the team with a bunch of other assassins who are there to take down the Phantom Troupe when they come for the next go of the action. And along with the other assassins are Killua's father and grandfather, and I cannot tell you how hyped I was to see them fight and just have them all interact. Oh my god. We get the boss of the Phantom Troupe who is just being chill, and he's talking with Kurapika's boss's daughter, the fortune teller one, and she reads his fortune, which makes him very emotional, and the fortune basically implies that half of the Phantom Troupe will die, but this prophecy, not quite. And we also learn he has the ability to steal powers, and it's wonderful. So he takes her power, or copies her power of fortune telling, which he'll then use to read all the fortunes of the other members of the Phantom Troupe. But during the scene here at the hotel later on, he just basically pulls a John Wick killing people with pencils, okay? Technically it's a pen, but still, slaughtering everybody. The Phantom Troupe are down, and they are just massacring everyone, and he's using his hands like a conductor, just orchestrating everything. It is a glorious scene. At one point in time, he ends up fighting, and this is probably my favorite part of the arc. So he fights Killua's grandfather and father, and it's a close fight. Grandpa takes him down with orders to his son, being like, kill us both if you have to, complete the mission. And he's willing to. But then when the rubble clears, he gets a call from Illumi. So Illumi's calling his father, and it's just being like, I killed all the Mafia Dons. They're all dead, so you're not getting paid. And he's like, huh, damn, we're not getting paid. This fight was nothing personal. Come on, Dad, let's leave. So Killua's father and grandfather leave the boss of the Phantom Troupe alive, just walking away from the fight because the people who hired to kill him have already been killed, so they have no purpose in fighting anymore. And it was hilarious. I can't believe that. So the boss, don't care. Boss of Phantom Troupe is just like, did you know that I hired Illumi? And they're like, it's just business, it's fine. And they just leave. And I was not expecting that resolution, but it makes sense for these insanely powerful characters to be able to walk away without one killing the other, just to give them an excuse to leave. But this is when things start getting good, because a fake body is left. So the boss of the Phantom Troupe is dead, and then all the other members have been killed as well outside, but they're all fake bodies. But Kurapika does not know this. So when he goes to investigate and sees them all dead, he has now lost his purpose for living. He has been living for revenge. He made this contract for these special abilities in exchange for his own life, can only use chain jail judgment and all that on the Spider Troupe, and now the Spider Troupe are dead. He doesn't know what to do. You can see like the loss in him. He doesn't know where to go from here. So he goes to an auction, and he has to bid on the last thing that is there, the body parts for the boss's daughter to get, and it's his clan member's eyes. So he buys them, he wins, he's walking down the street, and he is just devastated. So many emotions, he doesn't know what to feel, and then he threaten somebody. And I love kurapika so very much. But then he meets up with Gon and Killua again. And Gon is just like, well, they're all gone. You don't have to focus on revenge. Instead, you can focus on your true goal, your true purpose of collecting the clansmen's eyes and laying them to rest, collecting the eyes of your friends and family so they can rest in peace. And it's a more hopeful, kind thing to do, so pursuing peace instead of revenge, and it gives him a purpose to live again. And he finally smiles when he's with Gon and Killua and Leorio again, and it's wonderful. And then everything crashes down around you as Hisoka texts him being like, the bodies are fake. And absolute delight. You have the Phantom Troupe having a meeting where he reads all their fortunes, and again, essentially saying they targeted which ones are quote-unquote going to die, / the spider will lose 4 of its legs, meaning they assume 4 people are going to die. And Hisoka switches out his fortune with a fake one, and it kind of gets him off the hook, but also puts him on the hook, basically just giving him an excuse to be quiet. And keep them in town so they don't all flee, gives them an excuse to hang around so Kurapika can do his part, and then eventually Hisoka can fight the boss. So, sadly, Gon and Killua end up being captured, and Kurapika has to make a plan to get them free. So they're being held captive again by the Phantom Troupe. Oh, side note, forgot to mention. So Killua had originally wanted to, like, cut and run. Like, why are we after the Phantom Troupe? The Mafia have rescinded the bounty on them, so we don't have any need to go after them. Pretty much acting like his father and grandfather, it's all business, so why would I fight unnecessarily? However, then you have the moment where Kurapika reveals how his powers work, the dangers of knowing about his power, and the risk Kurapika has taken by trusting them, and they're like, no, we're all in, we're helping you. So eventually they're captured again, and Kurapika has to save them. So Leorio's in the middle of a lobby arguing on a phone, getting a hidden message out to Killua and Gon, while Melody is on the radio, pretty much acting as a countdown for when the lights are going to go out. And Killua is ready. When the lights go out, he breaks his own wrist or fingers, dislocates something to get out of the binds to attack and fight, but it's not quite enough. However, the distraction is enough for Kurapika to kidnap the boss of the Phantom Troupe and drag him away. And now they have to do an exchange. And, oh my god, for a moment, this is such good character work for the Phantom Troupe in its members. So the boss is just like, I am nothing. I may be the boss, but like the spider is what's important. So I am willing to sacrifice myself. They will sacrifice me to ensure that the organization keeps going. And some of the members are fine with that. They're like, boss would want us to leave him, let's leave him. But the other members are like, no, we care about him. We are not going to just hang him out to dry. We will give these 2 kids over to get him back. So the mind reading lady is the only one who knows the information. She's being blackmailed to be kept to keep quiet, or else they'll kill the boss. And she brings Gon and Killua to a location under Kurapika's orders to make the exchange. And while she's doing this, she's talking to the 2 kids like, I'm alone here. I probably wouldn't be able to take you both at once. You could get away. Why aren't you fighting me? And they're like, because Kurapika doesn't want any more bloodshed right now. We don't want any more bloodshed. Let's just do the exchange and let this end peacefully. And I really love that for them. And that is exactly what happens. Hisoka, of course, tags along and is like, I'm not actually working for you, so it's fine for me to be here. And Kurapika kind of screws Hisoka over, because all this time, Hisoka's been setting it up that he just wants to fight the boss, but he wants a fight to the death. And Kurapika makes it that the boss can no longer communicate or work with whatever, can't give orders to the Phantom Troupe. That's one of the conditions he places on him. Also, he seals off his Nen ability, so he can't fight anymore. So when Hisoka reveals that he's not a Phantom Troupe member and is ready for his fight, the boss is just like, you don't want to fight me. I don't have Nen, or I can't use Nen anymore. And Hisoka's face just goes blank, like, are you kidding me? And he walks away. And I'm like, that's poor Hisoka. Did I mention I like the clown? I love the clown. I hate that I love the clown. I so very much hate how much I love this clown. I didn't even mention. For Hisoka to get away, he ends up calling Illumi and being like, I need you to be a double for me so no one notices I snuck away. And he's like, oh yeah, I've known you longer than the boss of the Phantom Troupe, so I'll do that for you. Hisoka calling Illumi is something I didn't know that I needed, and I love that they still call each other even after the Hunter exams. I love this so much. So the lady who can read people's minds through touch ends up going back to the Phantom Troupe, but she's under the same order. She cannot talk to anybody. She can't tell them everything that she knows now about kurapika and Gon and Killua and everything there, or else the chain's going to pierce her heart and kill her. So her faith in her friends, family of the Phantom Troupe, she needs to communicate this information of what just happened to the boss and everything that's happened in the past, what she's learned. So she loads her gun with bullets and the memories of everything that she's learned. And that's one of her abilities. She can shoot somebody in the head and pass along the memories without obviously killing them. But in doing this, it will kill her. So she's like, my 5 closest members, we all joined at the same time. Please trust me. And she shoots them all. And they don't know whether or not she's being controlled or not, because they're under the impression that the chain user can control whoever they want. But the trust they have in her is like, no, you are not being controlled. We trust you. What's happening? So she shoots the memories, and as she fires those bullets, once they connect and it passes along that information, the deal triggers struck, and she instantly dies. And now they have all the information that she had. And then the next scene is Gon, because apparently he had a plan to get that game that they need for Greed Island. Him and Killua have gone to the action house, and who are there but the Phantom Troupe members? So I am so excited to see where the next arc goes. I love the series. It is so cute, and I did not expect, it's not going where you would expect for a shonen anime. It's just not. It's like pulling the rug from under me, and it's setting up the standard plot beats and tropes only to do something completely different, and I can't even be mad when it's sort of lackluster. Like, we've had all this build up. We expected a fight with the Phantom Troupe. We expected a fight with Hisoka, and it just didn't happen. They all walked away. We expect half the Phantom Troupe members to be killed, but really, a few are killed, but the other ones, they kind of just separate a little bit, and the prophecy didn't really go as we had thought. The fortune teller reading. I'm just so interested, and I can't wait to see what happens next. All right, that is all I got. I will talk to you later. Bye.